Good afternoon folks, 21st Century Caveman here. Hope everybody's well, hope everybody's happy, and welcome to another episode in the series How to Make a Man Cave, She Shed, Workshop, Cabin in the Woods. Whatever label you apply, the process is exactly the same. So in this project then, which is going to be split into two parts because there are lots of different steps to it, we're going to be constructing a door. So I've chosen my timber. I'm going to be using 2x3s basically, construction grade C18 timber, which I've measured and cut to size. And the reason I'm using C18 construction timber is because it's an extremely strong and very dense timber. It's already been treated, so I don't need to treat it any further with any preservatives or anything. So once the timber's been cut to size, I've actually clamped the two lengths together, so these will be the vertical pieces, and I'm now marking out where the other timbers are going to be affixed in order that everything is going to be nice and square. Now, as you can see from these hinges here, they're a sort of a T shape, so I've got to bring them in from the ends of the timbers, and also I'll actually be strengthening the frame of this door using some L brackets which I purchased from Lidl. So these L brackets are galvanized and will help to strengthen this timber door frame and to keep it square. Right guys, so as you can see, we've marked out everything for the cross members, so everything should be nice and square, and obviously the squarer this structure is, the stronger it's going to be. So all of the joints then are going to be secured using 100mm turbo gold screws. Now these screws don't need a pilot hole, they're very sharp, and they're also very strong. Now initially then there's going to be 2 screws in each joint, but at a later stage I will be removing one of these because basically I'm going to be using the screw as a drill bit to make a pilot hole for a much larger carriage screw, which is 6 inches long, 150mm. And if I don't actually get a hole in there first, a pilot hole in there first, then there's a very good chance that the carriage screw will split the timber. So clearly during the course of this process I need to keep checking on a regular basis that the timbers are put in square and that the angles are 90 degrees. Okay, so we're just going to check all of the angles then, and things are looking very good at the moment. Yeah, so they're absolutely spot on. So these are the carriage screws which I was referring to earlier, and you may recall that I used these to secure the timber framework of the walls to the floor. Now when you actually buy these you get about 50, you do get a bit to screw them in. So in this clip here then I'm actually removing one of the original screws, which as I say will have made a pilot hole in order that I can put in these big carriage screws without splitting the wood. So these are 150mm long or 6 inches. Now as you can see, they do actually have a flange on the end, so I need to countersink these, and I'm just going to very carefully drill a hole in the timber before I secure these, in order that I can get the heads of these big screws below the surface of the timber. So as you can see, things are coming on nicely, and this frame is becoming nice and stiff. And as I'm screwing in these big carriage screws, I can tell that the frame is tightening up really nice. Right, well this frame is as stiff as you could hope for, so this is absolutely not budging an inch. Right folks, so I'm now in a position where I'm going to mark the braces for the door, and there's a couple of important considerations here, and before I go any further I do need to make it clear that I'm not a qualified joiner. You know, this is a DIY job, but I think I know what I'm talking about. So the first thing is, you've got to decide which side the hinges are going to be on. For my purposes, the hinges will be on this side here, okay? Now, the braces have got to be put in the right position, and the reason you have braces is to keep the framework square. Now the thing is, if you think about it, right, gravity, if you imagine that this is the top of the door, then gravity is going to be pushing that down, trying to get the door out of square basically. So what I need is a brace which is going to keep it as square as possible. So the force, the pressure, is going to come down on the door. So I need to put a brace in there which will stop this sinking and coming out of square. These angles at the minute are 90 degrees, okay? Now if the pressure, gravity forces this down, you know, that angle's going to increase, it's going to come out square, and it's going to compromise the rigidity and strength of this door. So what I've decided to do, look, I've got a bit of timber and I'm going to fix it to that bit there, and whoops, I'm going to mark it here. So basically I'm going to cut an angle on this piece of timber which is going to be fixed to the top piece of the door, and this bottom bit here, look, I'm going to fit to this bit here. I don't want to fit it here, there's going to be loads of screws and that in here obviously, but the point is, this is going to act as a sort of a compression point really, and will keep this framework nice and square. And when I've done that, I'm just going to do exactly the same thing again on the bottom half. So basically we're going to have another one going this way as well. So there we go, look, that's a really nice tight fit. All we need to do now is to replicate this for the second one. Yeah, there we go, good as gold. We just need to secure it now, once again using the 100mm screws. Right folks, so both braces have been secured into place, but we're not done yet. On each join, on each available corner, we're going to put some angle brackets to make the frame even stronger, because the door is going to be very heavy. Now, the pictures of the angle brackets you've seen, the different size angle brackets, I purchased them from Lidl and they're absolutely brilliant value for money. So if you're in Lidl doing a bit of shopping and you see some of these for sale, pick up 2 or 3 packets in different sizes. They cost about £3 for a decent selection, because you never know when you might need them, and they're brilliant value for money. So as I say, every available corner on each joint is going to have one of these secured into place to make the door frame extra strong. So look, we're coming to the end of part 1 now, and in part 2 we're going to be completing the door. So we'll be insulating it, we'll be fixing waterproof membranes on both sides. We'll be boarding it out on both sides and also fixing the hardware for the door. Thank you for watching.